Hey guys, what's up? It's Jules here for What Culture Gaming, and I hope you had a good New Year's and a good Christmas and you managed to get a lot of gaming done in between. Now, as we're approaching this quite frankly freezing January, I thought to myself, let's celebrate the year that's just been and all the best things from it. And one thing that we don't usually cover is indie games. So I went round the office to all of the gaming lads and said, what was your favourite indie game from 2017? And these were their responses. So, enjoy.
There's a magical, lovable, serene quality to Night in the Woods that, I'll be honest, actually kind of helped with the passing of my grandfather last year. The whole game is all about revisiting home and coming back to that sort of welcoming comfort blanket that we all feel whenever we revisit our hometowns. Maybe we've been away, or you've been away to like university or college, and you come home and you see all your friends again. You see all the sights and sounds and the things that make you love that place. And it's about that. It's about how that can, in a way, be strangling to some people, or it can be too comforting. Maybe it encourages people to just stay at home and not pursue their dreams to some degree, but it's all about purpose and meaning and life and just doing what you can. The game plays like a 2D platformer, but that's essentially just to facilitate visiting a whole bunch of different characters. It's kind of the evolution of like the walking simulator, if you wanted to have a little bit more gameplay to it. But basically what you're going to be doing in Night in the Woods is jumping from character to character and just carrying the plot along. It's very much about hanging with your friends, re-exploring that town that I mentioned, and just very slowly uncovering the dark secret at the heart of the town. It does eventually go somewhere, and that is momentous, and it does make a huge comment on the nature of like Middle America or Middle England and how those mentalities kind of get wrenched and distorted and pulled through time. Especially you look at the digital age and where we are now. Is there any place for that old school sort of too comforting, too restrictive mentality in the modern world? Well, that's what Night in the Woods is about, and that's what makes it so damn special.
Getting over it with Bennett Foddy. Indie games can be just downright weird, and Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy takes that trophy for 2017. Bennett Foddy is the creator of QWOP. QWOP being something I don't really need to elaborate on because I'm pretty certain everybody knows what QWOP is. Getting Over It is its spiritual successor based on a 2002 game called Sexy Hiking. Getting Over It features a man sat in a cauldron climbing a mountain with a hammer. Ridiculous? Yes. Engrossing and utterly rage-inducing? Also yes. Bennett Foddy himself provided narration for the game, with lines being triggered the further you progress. He speaks of philosophies in video game design, his history with video games growing up, and when you fluff up something and fall back, he'll quote you something about failure, or even better, or worse, he'll play you some nice music just to further fuel that raging fire inside you. Now, I've only managed 40 minutes of continuous gameplay, mainly because f*** that bit, f*** this bit, f*** every bit here, and just f*** this entire f***ing stupid game. But you should totally get it and put some time into it. It's great fun. There's not really much else to say. It's a guy climbing a mountain in a cauldron. What's not to love?
So there is one indie game that we did have to put in here. It was a unanimous decision, Cuphead. Because let's face it, Studio MDHR has knocked it out of the park with this beautiful and brutally difficult game. We know that we've covered it a lot, but let's face it, there's a good reason for it. Cuphead is a joy to play, it's beautiful to look at, and it's got such a finger-snapping soundtrack that I have fingers like sawtooth audio waves now. The sheer imagination to come up with some of these bosses is quite frankly astounding, and I am so happy to see that the studio is putting out DLC packs in the near future with about 10 to 15 bosses in each one. That's brilliant. It's a fantastic success for the studio and shows that old school game mechanics still hold relevance in this day and age. Don't be a mug, give Cuphead a go. See, that's what their advertising thing should have been. I should have done it. Could have got the big bucks.
Although many narrative-driven games have adopted the simplistic structure of so-called walking simulators, few have done it as confidently or as elegantly as What Remains of Edith Finch. Telling the tale of the titular character returning to her childhood home for the very first time, which has essentially become a graveyard for all of her dead family members. However, it's all framed through the lens of the Finch family curse, a story which has embellished a kernel of truth at the heart of these tragic demises into fantastical and surreal stories in and of themselves. Consequently, in one story you might find yourself barrel rolling down a hill as a great white shark, whilst immediately jumping to a Creepshow-inspired horror story. It's this versatility and willingness to play with the genre that makes What Remains of Edith Finch such an engaging game to play, but it's ultimately the narrative at the heart of the game that makes it such a lasting experience. Each and every one of the Finch family is brought to life in their small vignettes, and although we only get to spend fleeting moments with them, the diverse array of personality-fueled mechanics as well as a distinctive visual design for each story really makes you feel like you've got to know these people. Of course, the way the overall story comes together is far too juicy to spoil here, but trust me when I say that what remains of Edith Finch's eventual resolution leaves a lasting impression that far outweighed anything else in 2017, indie or otherwise.
The Sexy Brutale. With a name like this, of course my interests were piqued, but when I found this to actually be one of the most enjoyable games of last year, then all the better. Basically, you're tasked with solving a murder at a masquerade ball, but you're using this time mechanic like a Groundhog Day thing of going back in time again and again to help you relive events and solve all of these murders. Light, it's a new year, behave yourself. It is a supremely fun game to play, with graphics that are varied depending on where you are in the mansion, meaning that you're looking at stuff that is lovely and keeps your eyes refreshed again and again. Yes, more of this. Using your skills, stealth, and intellect, it's up to you to foil the murders by sabotaging them and save the guests at this party. Plus, let's face it, that soundtrack is something else, a jazzy, cheery tune as you're trying to solve some quite brutal murders. It does work though. Basically, it's a great game with a great name. And those were our favourite indie games of 2017. What were yours? Well, let me know about them in the comments section below, then swing by whatculture.com for more news and articles like this every goddamn day. As always, I've been Jules, you've been awesome, and I'll speak to you soon. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe below, and if you're looking for more content like this, then try a few things that are floating about around my ears. It might be fun. I can't promise it though, but it might be.